would use the extra time to psychoanalyze my coworkers. And, it wasn't a judgment per se. I mean, there were some pitfalls, but I just had to do something with all that extra energy. And just figuring out their types. And, Josh and I can pretty much guess people's types within a certain amount of accuracy. But it was really cool to find out. And this is when I was really discovering MBTI deeply over the last few years, to see how different cognitive functions worked in the workplace with personality types that I might not normally encounter if I wasn't in a job. So it was really intriguing to get to know some of these different types and find out how they functioned, what made them unique and what their preferences were, and strengths and weaknesses and things like that, and how they capitalized on their strengths. And it was really a great experience, honestly, overall, to find out what was going on. And it really helped me to understand MBTI on a much deeper level, having examples of all different types around me to help understand it. When you can personify it, it really helps to understand what was going on there.
Okay, I'm really glad you mentioned what it was like for you to bring this intuitive feeling characteristic of yourself to the workplace, because it was really just it seemed like a fun environment to explore and really just get to know people. And yeah, sure, there's some psychoanalyzing that goes on, but it's almost like no matter where you put us, our curiosity is going to get the best of us. We've really got to know who is this person I'm with? Right. Who are these people? How did we come to have this sort of like all of these unspoken rules and agreements in this workplace setting? There are no rules that say we have to do things like this, yet we do. How did that happen? What's really driving this? And so you would have some of the greatest observations, and that intuition would drive all that curiosity. And then at the same time, just like you said, you were this ended up being a great experience because you coupled it with the feeling counterpart to that, the feeling decision-making process. That feeler aspect of the NF experience that you brought, that feeler part really helped you filter out, here's the most important information. And for you, that was, how are these people really doing? Are they happy? Yeah. Are they miserable? Right. Do they like these unspoken agreements we have? And if they don't, why don't we do something about it? So you as an NF can approach an environment like that and really do what it was we were meant to do, which is create change. And soon enough, you found yourself being asked to head up an innovation council. Intuitives are all about innovation, and this council was about nothing more than analyzing sort of the unspoken systems that were in place that nobody else really noticed or could put words to, but you did, and they all instinctively just kind of trusted you to know how to put words to those things, how to name them, and how to improve things, how to improve their quote unquote corporate culture, which is for us as an NFs, we're always interested in that stuff. They're just social systems, and it really lights our fire. We love it. We love being in situations like that where we're being called on to use our gifts. So I loved seeing you use your gifts that way, and just seeing you be recognized in that way. It was super cool. And then you also mentioned, for me, what I think is also key to this whole NF experience, what we're really looking for, I believe, is a sense of meaning. What we're wondering, what does this all mean? What's this about? What is going to be meaningful at the end of the day? What's going to mean the most? What's going to make the biggest difference here? And sensor thinker is going to be looking at what gets the job done, what's going to move the needle, what's going to be most productive. But for the intuitive feeler, it's really ultimately, what difference will this make on the level of the human heart and mind and soul? Will people's lives be improved? And it's a powerful thing to to be able to be a part of if you're an intuitive feeler. And I think it's what we all want deep down inside.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, it's kind of when you don't know the water that you swim in situation. And, I worked in an organization which had a lot of sensor thinkers, and they were really good at approaching things a certain way. But there were some clear loopholes and some clear weaknesses going on. And it's funny, the CEO actually asked me, it's true, to start an innovation council and work on improving systems, just because as an INFJ, I had a lot of insights about how people function in the workplace and how that may impact the kind of work that we do. So we covered all kinds of stuff, and we made all kinds of improvements, and it was a ton of fun. It was a wonderful experience. So yeah, thank you for recognizing that. And yeah, it's kind of cool to make an impact on the corporate world as an INFJ when, the intention wasn't really even to do that at first. It just kind of fell into my lap because somebody noticed something.
I'm remembering back to those days when you were in that job and you were serving on that council, and you were really making full use of your intuitive learning style and the feeling style as well. So you would, this was a perfect example of how the intuitive learning style works, but you would you'd go through your day, you'd see things that maybe didn't make complete sense. It could be with people's, it could be with human behavior or choices that people would make, or policies that would come down with no explanation, or maybe somebody moved offices, or maybe somebody was feeling disrupted by something, and you would observe during your day like what was going on around you, specifically with people and the people systems that were set up, and you might not understand it in the moment, but then given maybe the opportunity to sleep on it or a couple of days, and your intuition would kind of this introverted intuitive process that you have would kind of allow the answer to bubble up to the surface for you. And you sort of have this aha moment where you're like, oh, this is it. This is a basic human need that's being acted out in front of me. This person moved to the window, moved their desk to the window because they weren't feeling like part of the group anymore, or whatever it might be. And it, and so it just allowed you to see so much of what was really going on in that office environment, that little social environment. So, and I think that, as NFs, we're really wanting to improve the experience and understand and the experience of what it means to be human. Yeah. And this intuitive process where it's sort of like our intuition is sort of intermittently giving us gifts of insight is sort of what it's so much fun. That's where we can get into a state of flow. That's when we're really using that intuitive function. Yeah. And it's almost like dropping a bucket into a well. We don't know why or what we saw maybe during our day, and we just give ourselves a little time, a little bit of quiet. Maybe we go for a walk. Maybe we watch a TV show. We distract with something else, and then, or we, like for me, I've used writing. Could be anything, and we go inward, and we just sort of wait patiently, and something will show up, some sort of insight. And those moments are really fun. They're so rewarding. And I think that intuitive feelers, ultimately, one thing we're hoping to experience in our lifetime is that sense of going and dropping deep within and discovering this piece of wisdom that we can gift to the world around us. We are really looking to impact the world in a big way with our insight, our wisdom. That's the gift we want to offer. we want to give this away, and we want it to make a difference for people. Every NF I've ever met wants to make a difference in the world around them, and knows intuitively that they have this gift to offer. They have something to say. They have an insight to reveal to the world. So that's one reason I recommend just learning more about your intuitive feeling process if you have this, because it helps you really get lined up with that style that you have and that longing that you have, and really that potential to and that calling to make that impact. Because it really is a calling that you have. If you're an intuitive feeler, you feel like you want to make that difference for a reason, because, in a sense, that's what we're here for, among other things.
I love that. I love that explanation. I definitely agree for people in the As You Wish community, our authors. They have a message to share, and they want to get it out there. And I think that's one of the defining characteristics of why they were attracted to As You Wish publishing. So, we do have things to say, and we want to share it. We want to get our story out there, and intuitive feelers are definitely in that group, and they do have a lot to say. I said in a past podcast once that the people who are doing all the talking maybe don't need to be publishing, and the people who aren't doing all the talking should be getting their message out there and publishing. It's kind of a crass analogy, but the bare bones minimum of that analogy is that people who aren't, just because people typically aren't speaking doesn't mean they don't have a lot to say and a strong desire to get it out there. I just think we need the avenue that feels right to us to get it out there. And, whether it's As You Wish or some other form of expression, definitely make it a priority to get your message out there if you are an intuitive feeler, however it feels appropriate to you to do so. The feeling of accomplishment that comes with that is really huge and very rewarding. And it opens the door for more creativity, to do other things, to be in another book, another collaboration book, or to do a solo book, or to start your own podcast, or any number of things. I look at creativity not just in a box, but as a doorway to opening up to bigger things and greater things. So,
oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned creativity there. So, if you're an NF like Todd and I, you have been doing some dreaming. You have been dreaming about the difference that your ideas could make, your ideals could make, the difference that you could make. And it's because you've been inspired by the things that that you've discovered in your inner world, certainly, and also the world around you. You're discovering more about what's real, what's important, what really matters in this life to you, and you've been dreaming about what it would be like to share these things with people. I know this community of authors are very inspired people, and they're courageous enough to step out and put words to these things and give voice to them. So that's incredible. You mentioned creativity, and that's the one thing I think in this past year that I've been so grateful that you told me, hey, you got to do this, Josh. If you feel stuck or you don't know what to do or you don't know the next step, just follow your creativity. It does not matter what it feels like. If you feel like finger painting, do it. If you feel like putting together Legos, do that. For me, it ended up being just making some videos, some instructional style videos, and some videos on theories and concepts that have to do with the mind, the heart, and how to heal in those aspects. And it felt so good to make these videos. That led to some insights on other things and some introductions to other things. And it was definitely what I needed to really start feeling like I had some energy flowing in my life. So that's a very important thing to cultivate too as an intuitive feeler.